Hey guys, Chris here. I want to do a video today, an honest video, to talk about pickup artistry and my thoughts on it now. Having 8 years ago got into that industry, reading all the books, going on boot camps and meeting women and going on loads of dates and forming relationships, and how now that I look back, and in particular the last few years, I feel like I've got to the root causes of a lot of my self-esteem issues and confidence issues. And now that I can look back, I can see how parts of that is, very damaging. As I'm sure you can sort of see, that whole kind of industry is kind of dying out now. It's kind of evolving more into self-improvement, more into genuine, I think more for guys to be an honest, authentic guy. And for me in particular, I think over the last 2 or 3 years, I found some really great male role models who were obviously very honest, authentic in their true power, true strength, and also being very attractive to women, and also being focused on their purpose. So that gave me a lot more belief that there, is another way. Because eventually for me, I just found that I was in my head way too much. I was analyzing things. I just had a lot of shame about who I was, and I wasn't able to be fully authentic. And I found that whole industry, particularly because I was involved in it as well as a dating coach and doing boot camps, it was very competitive and very male ego, like I'm the best, I'm better than everyone, I've got the best game, I've slept with this amount of women, and I look at that back now and it seems quite immature. Also, I really feel like I got to the root cause of all the sort of confidence and self-esteem issues. One of the main problems is this thing called enmeshment, where you're actually, which I'll do another video on, which I spent the last 1.5 years getting through and really going into, where you have a very close bond with your mum, and there's never really been a healthy separation. And particularly with the PUA, that brings up a lot of anger and frustration, more towards women. So a lot of the industry as well, I found, obviously, a lot of people have mentioned misogynistic, and for example, you could talk to a woman, and most women, about it, and they wouldn't really have anything positive to say. So the whole industry is is on the low, it's underground. And as I think it's been more surfaced now and it's been brought out to the light, there's been a lot of criticism around it, and it's kind of died out. And I think a lot of that is to do with just in general, I think the consciousness that the planet is raising and things die out. Like I said, I think it's more about now being a more authentic masculine guy. And a lot of these things you learn, where it's like how to control your frame, what to say, when to know when someone's taking the piss out of you, shit testing you, as they say. These are just general, boundaries for yourself as a person, and to be someone who's very high self-esteem. So I don't really think, in a way, you in a way are generally wanting to learn to be a better man and a more confident person, and that's just how you are in general. You don't have to sort of be in your mind and think, oh, is this what she's doing? Is this what you're just that person anyway. And I think in a way women have done that. They're kind of maybe in a relationship are testing to see if you're the right guy, if you're who you say you are. So I think with a lot of this stuff you learn, it's quite inauthentic. So you're more or less being tested all the time, and create a lot of conflict. And I think what I found is that the more high self-esteem women, particularly who I've attracted in the last year, in terms of dating, are just very different, and they would see right through this. They wouldn't even go near a guy, I don't think, who you could see now, guys who are in their head and overthinking things. What line do I say? What do I do? What do I do that? And it's just not genuine. There's like a dark side, a shadow, which is kind of repressed so much to the point where the guy you are is not who you are. And I know that because that was the guy I became. I wasn't really honest and genuine. I seen vulnerability as being great weakness, whereas now I'm very open and honest, and I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with vulnerability. I think guys are very sensitive to rejection, particularly who get involved in this. So it's kind of a control mechanism to get around being rejected and to avoid rejection, and if you do get rejected, you're not rejected for you because you're not really being yourself, right? You're being this kind of cold guy in his head who's not really connected to emotions. So the work I've gone through for the last 3 or 4 years was really getting in touch with my emotions, which was very much around meditation and things like that. And therapy over the last 2 years, like I mentioned about doing ayahuasca in a previous video as well, which I don't think is necessarily needed. That was just part of my journey, but it did help me get involved into a lot more of my emotions. And I think I didn't really cry for about 5 years in sort of self-improvement in terms of learning PUA. And that was because I just disconnected myself from my body pretty much, you know. And it's to go into those deeper feelings. And once you feel those feelings, even though they are uncomfortable, you just become a more integrated human, you know, a better guy. I think there is a lot of toxic masculinity on the planet in terms of greed, in terms of control, in terms of overpowering. And I think a lot of guys who get into this very sensitive, we are sensitive of that and we don't want to be like that. And sometimes this conception of we have to then be a bad boy to attract a woman. And I think some of the things I did, I look back now and I feel like there's a lot of guilt around maybe the way I treated certain women. But equally, I had it back. You know, I would be rejected and treated badly. And it's always to do with a mirror, I think, in terms of being aware of what you're doing to other women, but also, you know, what they're doing to you. And you will find you're doing the same thing. So for me, maybe I felt like I was getting more rejections from women and being treated badly by women, but there were maybe 1 or 2 women I was doing the same thing too. So it brings you aware. And I do believe that we want to experience relationships, you know, we want to find love. You know, I think on that quest of dating to find out more about yourself, who you want, but I don't think for someone to just be, you know, not monogamous and just date loads of women for a lot of their life. I don't think that's the secret. I think as guys, yeah, we do want to meet more and more women. You know, we're going to be attracted to more women. We want to spread our seed, as they say. But ultimately, we want to, we want to find love. We want to experience a relationship, and I think that's a happier path. Eventually, you look at most people in the world; they do end up in relationships. Maybe there's some movie stars who are bachelors, but I think a lot of these people sometimes also have a lot of unresolved issues. Like I said, if you look into this thing called enmeshment, which I'll talk about. It's a general sort of pushing away of women because relationships are pain and you don't want to get rejected, and rejection's fine. I think the more you feel the rejection, the more you can step into your masculine power. As I talked about, this thing with enmeshment is you're kind of needing a woman, you know, with a lot of the PUA sort of stuff was your purpose becomes just conquesting women, which, you know, to me is just quite empty. I don't even see that as a thing anymore. It's kind of you're so focused on your own thing and women come into it. So this is never really to knock off the kind of PUA industry. That's why I never wanted to do a video, because I've learned so much. There's a lot of people there I'm so grateful for. I feel like I've got such a great level of compassion because I've really been through it. So I don't, some guys I think I used to be quite angry about or didn't like the way certain guys would be treating women and all of that, but I've been in it and I felt it too, you know. I think we all feel the same emotions, we all go through the same path, and I have a deeper level of compassion because that's the path I went through for many years. You know, maybe it wasn't as extreme for me as other guys, you know, maybe some of the guys had some real misogynistic behaviors, but equally that was still in me, you know, but I've worked through that now. And I think in terms of dating, it's just a lot more effortless for me to be myself. There was a lot of shaming I found as well in terms of guys who were just honest and authentic and be like, you know what, guys, I got rejected by this girl and it really bothered me and it upset me. And I would relate more to guys like that than the guy who'd be like, oh, rejection, you know, rejections don't bother me at all. I'm not even bothered. Which can obviously be a great mindset, but you are going to still feel things now and again. We are all human. So I think we want that connection. And I think if you jump on the bandwagon to shame people who are honest and open, you're sort of beating yourself up. You want to just put all of the cards on the table and you want to be open and you want to be honest and get rejected for being you. So I think particularly this year, a couple of girls I met I really liked. When it ended and I got rejected, which is how it happened, it hurt probably on a deeper level this time because it felt like I was actually being rejected for me, whereas I think before you're never really rejected because you're not really being yourself. So yeah, that's what I want to do a video about today, guys. I think it's great to just be open and honest. I think, you know, when guys are saying, what do I say, or how do I get over my anxiety? There's no other way around it. You know, you've just got to go over there. You got to say hi, say the first thing. If you're actually listening, if you're in your body and you're feeling and you're working on communication skills, these things shouldn't be a problem. I think it is wanting to avoid rejection and failure and understanding women. But you do that through experience, you do that through going on different dates. I felt to the point where I was just constantly approaching woman after woman on the street, going on dates, getting the same results, not going anywhere. Now, personally, I just wouldn't even date 90% of women. I feel like I've found specifically more who I'd want to go out with. And it's not just to do with looks, it's not just finding a young, attractive woman. For me, there's a lot more maturity, which is important, spiritual maturity. So I found that, you know, maybe dating women who are a similar age to me, or, you know, slightly younger or slightly older, it doesn't really matter as much. And I think there was always that judgment of, oh, you've got to be younger, and people be watching this video now and perhaps saying, oh, it's too, you know, he's gone blue pill and all of that stuff. But I do feel that's quite immature. I think it is about looking at the rationality of it and the facts that women are attracted to who they're attracted to. But there is a lot of anger and frustration in us. The guys that we are too nice. We don't express our true feelings. We don't express our anger. We don't express our sexual frustration. And that's covered with niceness. And then the niceness can be quickly covered with, I'm just this guy who's ashamed of who I am, and I'm trying to be this other guy, you know. I guess the final points to mention as well is, you know, it should be effortless, you know, to when you meet someone who you're connected to. If it feels like you're really trying to overanalyze, you're trying to control things, you know, of course, these are all relationship issues which have gone through your past. But in my experience, the women I've really connected to, from meeting them from day one to going on a date, you just connect, you know. And I think that's what it's about. It's looking for someone like that who you just connect with. So a lot of these techniques and things just go out the window. And that's to do a lot about where you are as well. If you're really confident in yourself, you know who you are, you turn up, and that person you just connect with your personality, then it's all great. And I think that's the point, to get to a point called abundance. One guy I learned a few things off, who's a pickup artist, is Julian Blanc, who he's talked about how since he had this massive media scandal, he's come to a place more of abundance than scarcity. And abundance is just being fully you know, without sort of the scared parts of you having to control things, having to control situations. So yeah, that's sort of my overall take on it. And, you know, you want to just keep improving yourself, improving. When you get rejected, there's always a reason in it. You know, I've found, like, throughout my life, particularly in the last 8 years, I think maybe about 5 or 6 really, you know, real painful rejection from women I really liked. But each time I've realized there was something that I didn't quite want from the relationship, or I didn't quite get what I wanted. You know, this is about knowing what you really want, who you really are as a man. So the only thing I can recommend for definitely for guys in terms of working with me is I've got a men's group, which I'll leave below, but also focus more on my sort of the getting out your comfort zone, the mastering all areas of your life, you know, to really own and go after what you want. So every moment of your life is like breathing. And then when you're really doing that, and you're not sort of externally looking for a woman, that part of the thing with what I mentioned with enmeshment is you're always looking for a woman, you're always looking for someone to come into your life, which is not how you're supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to be focused on your own. Someone comes into your life, compliments you, and relationships are great and enjoyable, but to sort of be on dating apps and constantly looking, you want to really come back to yourself. So, and obviously pickup artistry, into that industry is all about chasing women, putting all of your energy into chasing women, which, you know, it's a phase you can go through. It's an addiction, you know, for me to constantly going on dates and meeting women on the street. That's changed now, but I was addicted. I always felt like I had to go out and meet someone. It was all of my time. But it was also improving me, and that's why eventually it ran out of steam, because it wasn't improving me as a person anymore. I realized I had to go deeper inside myself and really find what's going on beneath. So I do recommend therapy, looking into this thing called enmeshment, which I'll do a video on. And yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Just let me know how you found it, and drop some comments. I can definitely do a lot more videos. I want to be very open and honest and just share what I've learned.